Daylight. You got me shining in daylight. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the second channel. This is the long-awaited collaborino from HT Hayes with Anthony Fantano, Melonhead himself. I saw that he put up a review for Harry's House, and I gotta see what Melon Man says, dude. I gotta see it. If he's starting to rip into this, dude, I am gonna be so sad. His opinion is valid. Yes, it's valid. I will still be sad. Let's get into it. Oh, before we start, though, gotta give him the thumbs up.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
Hi everyone.
Oh,
Nathan
no.
Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. And
Anthony Fantano. Well, it's on brand with the food references.
it's time for a review of this new Harry Styles album, Harry's House. This is the third full-length LP of UK pop singer and songwriter Mr. Harry Styles. In certain circles, Harry is a man that really needs no introduction, putting out two very successful pop records and being 1/5 of one of the most successful boy bands of all time will do that. And with each new release so far, it feels like more and more of Harry's old self artistically is being left in the past, especially since the man is pushing 30 at this point and delivering to us his most vibrant and mature release yet. Now, this LP was clearly going to be a different experience from the jump. Just think of the gigantic and dramatic display of emotion that was a sign of the times when that single dropped, or the playfully suggestive Watermelon Sugar. Conversely, this record was introduced to us through the very gentle, atmospheric indie rock cut as it was. I don't know when Harry got really into the Strokes as well as Vampire Weekend's Father of the Bride, but he really got into them. I'd say this track also has a stereotypical amount of reverb on it for this genre, with a light dose of new wave nostalgia as well. Think the song Take On Me, but
Too much reverb. Too much reverb, guys. Gotta take out the reverb.
pull out anything from it that's actually really bold or truly essential in order to make the end product as inoffensive and as just a background pop as possible.
Yeah, I hate to agree, but I kind of agree.
Maybe Harry's most forgettable lead single so far, but of course, since it is a Harry Styles cut and is
so far, I would agree,
endlessly playlistable, it blew the hell up. So all I could really hope for going into
still mid.
This album is that musically and artistically, Harry ends up delivering to us some bolder moves than what he's got on this track. And I'm going to be honest here, the entrance to this record, Music for a Sushi Restaurant, is pretty great. The whole thing sounds like
what I'm fucking talking about!
Groovy and elaborate collaboration between Vampire Weekend and Tune Yards with Mark Ronson on production, especially with all those vintage horn sections. And yeah,
and he accomplished that without having Mark Ronson on a production, by the way. Just saying. That's pretty impressive.
Track may genuinely be my favorite Harry Styles song ever. I love its bold bursts of instrumentation, its sly grooves, and the way Harry plays on this track with eccentric vocal harmonies and very low-key flirty verses, as well as scatting. The man is scatting. Not only is the song really catchy and well-produced, but it is a super healthy expression of pop nostalgia. And some of the tracks to follow from here are pretty solid too. Late Night Talking, for example, is a very polite and poised fusion of disco and synth pop, and the instrumentation on this track is so decadent, so lush, that the super basic chord progression it's all based on barely even becomes a factor. Grape Juice is a shimmering soft rock cut that has a kind of curious intro with some noisy guitar and percussive effects. Shout out to Kid Harpoon as well as Tyler Johnson for packing so many fun little sonic details into this thing, because without a doubt, this is Harry's most creatively produced project yet. On this track specifically, I'm loving the harmonized bass segues and the little hits of vocals that bring us from one section to the next. The one major issue, though, that I have with this track and many others on this LP is that Harry's vocals are incessantly dolled up, especially as he's crooning on this particular chorus. It kind of seems like over and over and over again, we're getting like these really tight either overdubs or chorus effects that give Harry singing this unnaturally weird buzzing quality to it. I get that it makes it pop a little bit more in the mix, but there is kind of an artificial end result to it that kind of sucks the humanity out of his performance a little bit. This proves to be a persistent problem, at least for me, even on some of the more stripped back tracks here.
I can see a little bit with the vocal effects that he is experimenting in, but I wouldn't say it's through every single song, and I definitely wouldn't say it'd be over the acoustic tracks. I feel like the acoustic tracks are actually some of the best vocal performances that he gives on the record. So sorry, Anthony.
Point on the album, transitioning into As It Was and hearing the kind of lo-fi crushing walls of guitar and drums on the song Daylight, that something is dawning on me about this record. That this thing is essentially like 2022's version of Patrick Bateman pop. Yes, I mean the main character of Bret Easton Ellis's American Psycho, which I know, like, in the music community is, like, kind of meme to death because, you know, you have Bateman there with the album ready to listen to on the stereo, whatever, you know, hip indie project it is that's hype at the moment, or some kind of extreme music release that he would never listen to in a million years. And I don't mean to meme this here. I'm, like, genuinely making a comparison, a point of comparison here, because if we think of Bateman and we think of his love of Huey Lewis and the News, Harry is striking a similar balance between making a pop record that is kind of accessible, but then also kind of artsy, very middle brow. It's sweet enough to where the kids will jam it, but then it's also not so bubblegum that the yuppies will hit skip. Making it, again, the perfect album for Bateman to put on as he is readying the axe and telling you that As It Was is a song of change and metamorphosis. Accepting change, not just societally, but within yourself. Letting go of that older self in favor of a new perspective, maybe even a new way of being.
Bro, okay. Yeah, I definitely get it. Yeah. It's very inoffensive to me, which is why I was so taken aback that people were like, I didn't really like it, you know? Because it's like, really? How? You know? And we talked about that in the other video. It's a lot of it based around expectations of fans from past years and you know, some genre changes that were not expected. So yeah, I feel you.
Being said, by the halfway point of this album, my time at Harry's house was beginning to wear thin. The hors d'oeuvres are unimpressive. The decor generally lacks inspiration and variety.
Dare you?
By the time we hit the song Little Freak, yes, okay, I get it. You think Ezra Koenig is one of the best songwriters of our generation.
Damn, you only got 5 songs in?
You feel that way. I feel similarly. You even have his little soft boy vocal delivery down and are tossing in similarly quirky, privileged narrative details into the lyrics. I hear it. You can't throw me off with these sleepy little guitar and synth passages.
This is where I feel like Anthony listens to way too much music. Way too much music.
It's there. The track list beyond this point continues to deliver some slow burns with the song Matilda, which is a really cute acoustic ballad that gives Harry and his guitar some room to breathe sonically. And narratively, this track is kind of another tale of change and metamorphosis. We have a girl who's kind of moving on and living her own life because she's reached a point realizing that those who raised her and were around her didn't really care and weren't really supportive in the first place. I love the piano transition of the track on the back end too. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, really adds up to a powerful ending. What's even more interesting is I guess this is all kind of based on a personal story or connection that Harry has, but he kind of masks that a little bit in some parallels to the book Matilda from Roald Dahl, which I thought was a...
The book? Okay, so just fuck Danny DeVito, I guess. No, shout out Roald Dahl. Shout out Roald Dahl. He is the original writer. But damn, bro, show some respect for our boy.
A little fun fact. On the song Cinema, we have more slick and sensual 70s grooves, this time with some spacier atmosphere, sexier lyrics, and a bumpin' bass line. The main issue, though, is that the lyrics here start to take a nosedive. I just think you're cool. I dig your cinema. Do you think I'm cool too? At this point, I can feel myself turning around to look at Bateman behind me and just say, end it all, please. Things pick up on the song Daydream with a very even funk soul disco fusion. It's not surprising either that the great Quincy Jones has a writer's credit on this cut. And the track is quite repetitive in some ways, instrumentally and lyrically. It does kind of feel like something out of a dream state. The sort of distant and thin background vocals cycling away as if they're a memory of some sort adds to that quality too. Plus, Harry's really putting it down vocally on the the end of this song.
Hell
the very
yeah.
short Keep Driving, in my opinion, is maybe the most inconsequential song on the entire LP.
Yeah.
The persistent and playful drums and synth passages here feel like a holdover from some kind of 80s soundtrack, but the transitions from section to section in the track, as well as the intro and outro, are all pretty unceremonious. I feel like there is something here to this song. It just wasn't really fleshed out fully.
Executed well. Yes, that's what I'm saying, dude, is that it has such a strong concept. It just wasn't fleshed out totally all the way. Yeah.
Its final moments, Harry's house finds even more ways to become wallpaper. The falsetto vocals and washed out beats and synths.
Damn, bro. Okay. That one hurt a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. That one hurt a little bit.
And sadly, in its final moments, Harry's house finds even more ways to become wallpaper. The falsetto vocals and washed out beats and synths on Satellite make As It Was feel like it has bite. The breakdown toward the finish is really the only exciting thing about it. And then Boyfriends is a sort of odd but well-meaning acoustic cut on the LP. Yeah. Written from the perspective of, I guess, Harry watching people dating other people, but then also having judgments of those relationships not going well, or there being some kind of like observed mistreatment, which narratively as an idea is fine. It's just that Harry doesn't really provide too much in the way of any details here, and instead what we do get is just a lot of nondescript pandering in order to tell the audience exactly what it wants to hear about those bad boyfriends with vocals and guitar work that are kind of evocative of like Simon and Garfunkel. Then the closer...
Yeah. I mean, like I said in the other video, you know, Boyfriends definitely hits a bit different upon like 5th and 6th listen. The lyrics are definitely a little pandery. I still think it's a beautiful song, though. I still think it's an absolutely gorgeous song.
Love of My Life kind of leaves the album off on a sentimental moment that for a second seems like it's setting up for a bang, but it kind of goes out more with a very melancholy whimper, topped with some plinky pianos.
It does not resolve. It does not resolve at all.
Synth layers the track builds on are quite nice. Harry's vocals, too, have a somber and raw quality to them that
They're
I
all somber.
Kind of wish happened more often on the LP.
What?
It doesn't seem like...
Dude, there's so many somber vocals on the LP. What are you talking about? Daylight? Grape Juice? There's somber vocals in there. Fuck, Matilda.
Whimper, topped with some plinky pianos. The thick and watery synth layers the track builds on are quite nice.
That's just so funny to me that like at one part Tony will be like, oh yeah, the voice that he's achieving in Little Freak sounds like such a cute boy, and it's you know it's so soft, and he's got that down so well, and then in the back half he goes, oh, I wish he had more somber vocals. Bro, you just said there were somber vocals.
Harry's vocals, too, have a somber and raw quality to them that I actually kind of wish happened more often on the LP. It doesn't seem like much more than just kind of a splash of reverb on his voice, and it just kind of serves as a reminder.
I disagree. I think there's a lot of effects. I think the reverb definitely takes front and center, but I feel like there's more than just that.
Reminder of what was truly missing from some of these tracks, even some of the ones that are presented in a more bare fashion. But yeah, for some reason, this very synth-heavy pop dirge is one of the most plugged-in moments on the LP, which might also have a lot to do with the confessional lyrics as well. But yeah, overall, I think this track is a somewhat powerful moment, and I think it ties up the album's general themes as well of accepting change and loss. Even the offhanded mention of the news being on, despite not liking the things that you're seeing on the news, adds into this idea of changes that are sort of out of your control being forced upon you. Really sort of shows that Harry wasn't just looking at this record like a series of random songs, but like an entire statement piece, and I like that.
That's very refreshing to hear, Tony, because I did not have that initial opinion upon listening for the nth time. Fair enough.
Role being forced upon you. Really sort of shows that Harry wasn't just looking at this record like a series of random songs, but like an entire statement piece, and I like that.
I think statement piece definitely makes more sense than like a story, because I feel like whenever I start to listen to an album, I'm kind of conditioned to like think about storylines and if they all connect first, but at the same time, it doesn't have to always be like, set up, middle, climax, ending, resolve, and then boom, outro. It can just be a conglomerate of thoughts that he's been thinking about over the course of the pandemic, which is essentially exactly what yes.
Overall, this weekend at Harry's was not a bad one. The more I sat with it, the more I did feel like this is his most personal and most creatively produced project so far, even if those little touches of effects and alterations, especially on the vocals, go a little too far sometimes. But while I did like this LP, I weirdly also felt like this is one of his more anonymous projects thus far too. Meaning sometimes I feel like I was hearing his influences more than I was hearing him. But considering the concept of the record, I guess I sort of get it, because this record for Harry seems like it's sitting in a very comfortable place. He's not so much conceptualizing this record for the world as much as he is perceiving it as, this is something that I would just kind of vibe to or listen to. This is the exact kind of music I would desire if I...
This is the kind of music that he would listen to in his house, just as he's being in his house. I get it.
We're just at my house, in my place, in my comfort zone.
That's what
I would want to hear.
Wow.
So this is what I'm going to make.
Yeah.
And the sound of that, again, sits squarely in the 70s, with a lot of ideas borrowed from singer-songwriters of that era, soul and pop and funk of that era.
Yeah.
Even the debut album of Yellow Magic Orchestra's Harry Hosono. And there is something kind of fun and eclectic and soul-bearing about that approach that Harry's taken here, which I think has made this my favorite Harry record so far, even if I'm not totally in love with it, and there are parts of it that I wish were better. Yeah, there are parts on this thing that I think are duds, but some of my favorite tracks Harry's ever done so far land here too. So, fair trade. I'm feeling
fair enough
on this one.
Decent 6. Okay. All right. A little lower than I thought it was going to be, but I'm glad it's not totally middle of the road. You know, that's fine. I'll take it, Tony.
One transition. Have you given this record a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it?
Oh, buddy boy. Do I have a video for you? I sure did like it. A lot of really good points, man. Anthony is, there's a reason he's on top. There's a reason he's the #1 music, nerd on YouTube, dude. It's because he's got great takes. I don't always agree with every single one of them, but I can definitely see his point when talking about Harry's House. Very eye-opening commentary that I appreciate from the Big Melon Man. Tony, if you're seeing this, I'm ready for the collab. I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to hop on the interview. Let's knock it out, brother. Maybe. I'll manifest that. But until then, thanks for watching. Appreciate you. As always, stay happy, healthy, and strong, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.